Hello again today from Melbourne Airport, where shortly we're going to be flying over to Auckland with Air New Zealand. Up here at check-in, it's all self-service for economy, but there's plenty of machines and not much of a queue, so it doesn't take long to print out the boarding pass and have the bags sent on their way. Now, unfortunately, there's no lounge that we can access before the flight today, but nothing beats a bit of plane spotting. And there's also things like a piano in the terminal here, and there's always these familiar bears along the walkway here to take a look at as well. And finally, here's our plane that's going to be taking us over to Auckland soon. But unfortunately, there's not much of a great view here, although standing here we do have a great view of looking at other planes taxiing down and taking off as well. Unfortunately, this is one of the gates that can split in half and accommodate two narrow-body planes, so standing on the other side we can see it a bit better. And speaking of that, here's the other Air New Zealand plane that's going to be parking at the same gate as us. Now this makes boarding a bit complicated as two planes are sort of boarding at the same time, but there are signs which detail normal and priority boarding, so it is actually handled pretty efficiently and we're on board in no time. Once we are on the aircraft, there is a bit of a wait to get all the way down to our seat, but here we finally are for our 3-hour ride over to Auckland, seat 24A. Now that we're on our way across the Tasman, let's take a look around the seat. Surprisingly, in these short-haul planes, there are TV screens installed, and it's of a normal size, and below it we have the USB and audio ports. Now the screen doesn't appear to tilt backwards and forwards, although I might have been missing something there. There is a tray table, which is of a bit of a smaller size. It does extend backwards and forwards though. There's a 2-part seat back pocket below that, which is good for storing quite a few different things, and legroom here is alright for a shortish flight. The armrests on either side are thin and small, but they do move up and down, although oddly the recline button is not on the armrests and unusually positioned down here between the seats. But everything else is pretty standard, including the air vents overhead, and you can see here that the seat is actually well padded in this comfortable leather material, and it includes a normally adjustable headrest back and forth. Although unfortunately a few things about these seats are being a bit worn, as the tray table here had quite a lot of stains across it, and the seat back pocket and its contents were starting to disintegrate a little bit around the edges. Now, we didn't pay for a bundle which included food, but they still gave us a drink and a few of these snacks, which tasted alright considering they were free, although most other people in the plane seemed to be getting the meal deal bundle. Now let's keep going with this experience by taking a look at the IFE. Luckily for us, Air New Zealand recently changed their onboard offering and included all entertainment for free for everyone on board, no matter what bundle you purchased. So we got access to all the movies and TV shows and everything on here for free, which was nice. And there was actually a pretty good selection of things to watch, especially for a less than 3-hour flight. So you certainly won't get bored on board one of Air New Zealand's Trans-Tasman flights anytime soon. There were also some special features on this in-flight entertainment system, given that you can order food and drinks and things all from the screen, which was a nice touch. And the in-flight map was particularly special given that it was fully interactive and included lots of extra details that you don't see in quite a few other in-flight entertainment maps. Also, if none of this in-flight entertainment was to your liking, they did also offer free Wi-Fi on board, which was a very nice touch considering Qantas is yet to do that. Now, the earbuds that they gave out were free, which was nice, but they were just of the cheap earbud kind. Now, Air New Zealand is usually pretty big on branding and things, so they did have some quite distinctive mood lighting going throughout the cabin for most of the flight. But probably the most recognisable design you'll see on board would be that in the toilets. Now, there were 4 toilets on board, and this is one of the mid-cabin ones, which was very small, but clean enough, and had this cool design on the wall as well. Air New Zealand also keeps up the tradition of handing out these little lollies just before you come into land. Now, we arrived into Auckland a bit ahead of schedule, so unfortunately our gate wasn't available, so there was a bit of waiting on the tarmac, and once the other plane finally pushed back, they somehow couldn't figure out how to move the aero bridges around, so we also couldn't go onto that gate. But eventually they found another gate for us, and quite a while after landing we could finally get off. Now, one last look at the cabin here before we can finally get inside the terminal and actually get some great views out over our plane. Now, overall, that was a pretty good flight with Air New Zealand. The seats were comfortable enough, and there was a good selection of entertainment as well. We got some free snacks, which was more than enough for a short flight like this. So overall, it was a pretty good experience. And I definitely have no doubts flying with Air New Zealand in economy on a Trans-Tasman flight anytime soon.